Hey, Jeff, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for being here. We chatted lightly about some of the folks that were around and are still around, but not as present today in the state political arena. And I must say, I'm an admirer of your work because it's like, I'm going to give you the old football analogy. You got a nose for the ball. No, really. I mean, you're one of these guys that are all over everything. Look, there are people, as you know, how this works, where you're on their Twitter feed. They're quick. They're one of the first people to get on the news and the latest as things pop, as things move. So I really commend you for that because you're a hard worker. You care about what you do, and it's noticeable. This is what I'm saying. And I'm not saying, look. It's wide, it's broad, and I'm a big fan of Katie's. There are others, right, that I don't want to leave anyone out, right?
Flatter me too much.
But no. But I'm being. Look, I'm a political. Hence why I'm doing this, right? So I'm always interested in what's happening, and I like to talk shop, right? Which is why I'm trying to get this going. And the background, I did this well over a decade ago. There was no or very little to no Twitter. Instagram, the whole landscape was different. It was Politico.
We might finally be getting to the end of Twitter if we're lucky.
Yeah, it was different. Blogger, it was, different. The Daily News had, mentioned Liz Benjamin and others. Yep. And things have evolved and things change, right?
And there are fewer reporters now. That's why, thank you for the compliments. But I have to work hard. We all have to work hard and be on everything because there's fewer of us. It's more... It's just there's more news than ever, and there's fewer people covering it, and so we're all working really hard to help communicate that and get out the truth to people that care about the New York City and state politics. It's a fun position to be in. I love the job. I love being in it. So let's get right into it, just for the sake of time.
SOMOS, give me your takeaways. I saw you very present, live tweeting and commenting on the comings and goings of the political class. Let's start with who was the biggest winner? SOMOS.
Ooh, good question. SOMOS is like a buffet for a reporter. It's just incredible to be there and to see everybody all in one place. I love it. The winners of SOMOS, a lot of the big winners were not there. That is to say, Eric Adams, everybody knows he had, frankly, a good election day with Trump winning. He hasn't hidden that fact. I guess to give you a specific name, I'm already looking ahead to the speaker's race next year. And I saw, Julie Menin was everywhere. I saw her many times at SOMOS. She is, at this point, probably running the most aggressive out front campaign to be the next city council speaker in 2026. But it's still early. Things can change. Justin Brannan was running the most aggressive campaign 4 years ago, and he ended up finance chair, but not speaker. So I got to give her kudos. Of course, same thing for Selvina Brooks Powers. Same thing for Crystal Hudson, Kevin Riley. I see them too. So the speakers candidates, they really try to be out and about and get their face time out there. I'll say the mayoral candidates as well. Jessica Ramos, Zellner Myrie, Zoran Mamdani, they were everywhere. Scott, a little bit less so, Scott Stringer. Brad Lander, he was also out there. I got to say, I think Scott and Brad were having a little bit of a tougher time at SOMOS simply because this is a Latino conference. This is a position where Ramos and Myrie got time to speak on stage, got to, really put their ideas out there as part of the Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic caucus. And so they got some, prominent time, and they got to talk out there. Brad Lander, he had his event as well, but I think he and actually I'll go back, and he and Zoran Mamdani, a little bit defensive, a little bit on the back foot these past couple days because of this, what feels like a backlash to progressivism. I think time will tell whether that sticks after this November election, but a big immediate takeaway from SOMOS was that a lot of people were finger pointing at the left and saying this is progressives' fault, too woke, and I think Mamdani, Lander, really all the mayoral candidates, frankly, they're all to the left of Eric Adams. They're all going to have to find a way to talk about that. They're going to have to find a way to be defensive.
Can a progressive be mayor? Someone labeled progressive with ranked choice.
Yes, I do think it's possible. I still see absolutely a path to victory for any of them, really, for a Brad Lander in particular, who has the most money and maybe the most institutional support of the challengers at this moment. That said, it's early. I wrote a piece for Playbook from SOMOS that was saying in 2016, when Trump won, there was tons of progressive energy. That is what brought us to 2018, where we saw, the IDC was unseated and Cynthia Nixon ran a surprisingly competitive race for governor, at least somewhat. AOC beat Crowley. 2018 was like the high watermark of progressive politics in New York. Maybe that continued up to 2020, where DSA won even more seats. So there's a path where this is good for the progressives, where people say we need somebody, who can fight, who can take down the weak Democratic Party, and they have the platform to say we're not part of the Democratic Party, we're against that. But it's different than 2016. Everybody knows it's different than 2016 for a variety of reasons. The results, Trump's continuing to gain ground in New York and elsewhere. So I don't know if we're going to have that same kind of progressive energy and excitement against Trump and against Washington that we saw before. And it might be more of a year for competent management, more of a year for moderation. Everybody is, talking about management. That's really the buzzword. Even the progressives, Brad Lander is a progressive, but he's not saying he's a progressive. He's saying he's a manager. So really interested in that aspect of things. I do think a progressive could win the primary, but I'm really waiting to see the ways that this mayor's race continues to be shaken up after the presidential.
I'm going to give you 4 names, and you tell me what the outcome of Tuesday's election means for all 4. Governor Kathy Hochul.
Hochul was, spinning it positively. She was saying, look, the House races, which was her main goal. Her main goal was to flip these House seats and hold on to a couple, Swazi and Ryan, and overall saw success. It wasn't across the board, but it was pretty darn close to it. So Hochul is feeling good, and I think some of the pressure has come off of her. I mean, I think had she lost these House seats, it would have been devastating. Well, here we have congestion pricing. It's putting her in a tough position. She would have had a lot more time to think about it had Harris won. Now she's got to rush it out with a Trump win. So her future is also complicated to see how congestion pricing plays. But I think overall she had a good Tuesday.
Attorney General Letitia James.
Oh, that one is so interesting. So I'm working on a story about this. I'm gathering information. So I'll, if anybody's listening, give me a call. She is presenting herself as the leader of the anti-Trump resistance in New York. Back when Trump won in 2016, de Blasio and Cuomo were super anti-Trump. They were really out there against the guy. Schneiderman, too, the attorney general at the time. Now, Adams very much trying to play it safe with Trump, trying to reach across the aisle with Trump. Hochul, somewhat, definitely a less aggressive stance than we saw from Cuomo at this point. She was, talking about finding common ground, infrastructure money, that kind of thing. Letitia James, she comes out in that press conference, guns blazing, just like we are, it is time to attack Trump. Of course, it comes right back at her. Trump and, MAGA world hate Letitia James. They say it's lawfare. There was talk about throwing her in jail. Really out of the line kind of political stuff. But she is absolutely going to be a political target of Trump. I'm curious to see if Trump is just going to, use rhetoric and say that she's bad, she can survive that, or whether Trump's going to be able to actually use the powers of Washington, the powers of the White House, the powers of the DOJ to somehow damage James, or even, I don't even know, sue her or something. I mean, the the sky's the limit, which is, worrisome in a way, about the politicization against a state attorney general. So I'm keeping my eye on that. So overall, her future is really murky. But I will say, I don't think she's going to run for mayor now. I think the chances of her running for mayor were already low, but now that Trump has won and now that she said this speech, pretty much everyone I talked to at SOMOS was like, yeah, that's not it. Like, she is not running for mayor. That's not a thing. She's staying in the attorney general job.
Alvin Bragg,
a similar situation to James, I guess. I mean, he's much less of a political actor than James, at least in the out and about public speeches kind of way. Of course, the guy ran for office. Don't get me wrong, he's still a politician. He might deny that, but he is a politician. But James is the one that's going to go out and give a speech and really attack Trump and say, she has said that he is a fascist, or at least she's come very close saying, he fits the mold of a fascist. Alvin Bragg would never say that. That's just not his style. It's very different. So Bragg, I guess I could say if he's lucky, he might be able to, just kind of recede into the background and focus on his work in New York, the day-to-day, and let Trump, that case, be in the past. But that's probably not the case. I think Trump is going to continue to attack him. I think he's going to continue to be in the crosshairs of Trump supporters, both politically and, frankly, literally, sadly. All these folks are, legitimate under threat, physical threat. So, big picture, Trump winning, clearly bad for Alvin Bragg, clearly a bad situation. Also, I don't even understand the legal implications for that case. We're waiting for Trump's sentencing. I think the judge has yet to rule. I think there's a decision right now about whether Trump will even get sentenced or whether the case is going to effectively be postponed for 4 years. I'm not sure. But overall, bad day for Alvin Bragg. He would have liked to see Harris win.
Former Governor Andrew Cuomo.
Whew, that's another interesting one. You've got good questions. Andrew Cuomo immediately comes out with an op-ed being like, the Democratic Party is broken. Here's how to fix it. I am still not convinced that he is going to pull the trigger on a run for mayor. I think that is less than 50% chance that he runs for mayor. Maybe not a lot less than 50%. I mean, I think there's still a distinct possibility of him running. But, at the moment, Eric Adams has slightly strengthened his standing as a candidate, slightly. I don't know if Cuomo wants to do that. He might just keep his focus on 2026, running for governor, trying to reclaim that mantle. And I think overall, the political situation has gotten better for Cuomo because, yes, there is this talk about moderation. There's this talk about, being tough, being a bully. Maybe not a bully, but, tough politics that, doesn't, use soft words. It's all kind of a ridiculous thing, but it plays right into Cuomo's hand. And I think overall this is Trump winning is probably a beneficial thing for Cuomo's political future.
Jumaane Williams.
I think it's, that's a complicated one because I think Jumaane's chances of becoming mayor are lower than they were. I think the chance that Adams stays it out and stays in office are higher now than they were before the election. That said, I don't think Jumaane actually wants to be mayor. I don't think he's ever wanted to be mayor. So maybe this is a relief. Maybe he'll be happy to not be thrown into that position of being the acting mayor and then being pushed or wanting to, run in a special election after that. So complicated situation. Clearly, that's a man that's worked up about Trump and about this election. I mean, it clearly hits him in a, I don't know, at least with his rhetoric, it hits him more personally and emotionally than you see from a lot of other politicians. He really tries to speak for the New Yorkers that just feel viscerally disgusted by Trump and shocked and horror in a way that we aren't seeing from other, top electeds in New York. So, I think he's got a chance to really also run with that as part of the anti-Trump resistance. But I think he is now one step further away from ever becoming mayor.
Right now, I'm gonna on you. I know I'm pretty sure you have people in your profession that you admire and respect. Give me 3 people in government, whether elected or someone in government, who you say, wow, this person gets policy and politics. I'll tell you one person who, separate of my principles, someone who I have a deep admiration, a deep respect for, that sort of got it. I felt was playing chess. Dean Fullahan.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, if we're
he
able
just had.
Yeah, if we're able to talk
he was
outside
one of these guys.
of elected officials.
That's the point. I'm saying, give me 3. They could be elected officials.
Mm-hmm.
Just government people that you feel just get it.
Yep.
Based on covering, based on conversations, based on inside baseball, based on watching them.
Yeah. All right, so one easy answer. I live on the Upper West Side. It's my constitutional obligation to say Gail Brewer as a city council member. I think we all appreciate her in a certain way. I'll tell you, my understanding of her as a politician has definitely grown. Years ago, I wrote a story, Everybody Loves Gail. It was about how everybody loves her. Over time, I've learned that's not necessarily true. Gail has some enemies about the way she works in politics. But that said, I don't think anybody can question her deep understanding of city government, her deep commitment to representing her neighbors. Does she waffle? Sometimes, yes. But overall, I got to give my city council member some respect, Gail Brewer. The others, this is a tough one. I mean, as a journalist, I really try to keep my emotional distance from the people I cover. That said, there's a lot of very impressive people in politics, and you're killing me with this one, man. It's I like a lot of people. I don't want to gas them up too much, or they think I'm going to give them nice coverage. So, who else out there? It's a tough one to think on my feet.
Remember, people would always mention Dick Ravitch, right?
Oh, sure. May
he
rest in peace.
Correct. People that continue to be brought back right to government because they're sort of working on, or as advisors. Again, doesn't have to be elected. It could be someone.
Yeah. Well,
you're going to skate. You're going to skate on.
No, look. All right, I'll give you a couple more. I mean, one. Again, I now cover her daily, but I have been quite impressed with Maria Torres Springer. Okay. The rollout of her as first deputy mayor went swimmingly for City Hall. Across the board, positive response, which really helped steady the ship. It helped keep the mayor in office, frankly, that everyone was saying, okay, he's serious, she's good, keeping with this. And I'm sure that, we reporters are going to be tough on her and the whole administration. But just seeing this across the board respect for Torres Springer from progressives, from moderates, from Republicans, from apolitical people. I mean, there's a part of me that really appreciates somebody like that. So, shout out to Maria Torres Springer, I guess, in this case. Time will tell. And then another one, you got me thinking of Dick Ravitch. I mean, I think of Carl Weisbrod. He's another one who's kind of in that vein of somebody who has been called into a lot of jobs. A true expert, really knows New York City real estate. And also just, my experience with him has always been very positive. He's very willing to share his historical knowledge, his current knowledge, quick with a smile. So there's another one. Weisbrod is just a good soul in politics.
2 reporters, and I'm going to let you go with 2 more questions. Well, 3. 2 reporters you look up to, and you say, wow, look, I wish I could measure up.
Yeah.
Or
I'm going to totally suck up to my boss on this one, but Sally Goldenberg of Politico, she is my editor, but she is somebody who I read for years and years and followed, and was an essential, and continues to be an absolutely essential read and follow on city and state politics. I mean, she owns the beat, and even though she gets many fewer bylines now as an editor of Politico New York, I mean, her touch is on basically every single story we publish, and I give her immense credit. So yeah, that was an easy one. I'm sucking up to my boss, but it's legitimate. And another one, you know, I will also shout out Herson Barrero. We worked together a decade ago at City and State. He was, a long time editor, reporter, follower of New York politics who took me under his wing back when I was, an intern, back when I was an editorial assistant. Look, does the guy throw out some crazy things on Twitter sometimes, some crazy theories? 100%. But sometimes, maybe even often, they're correct. And I just appreciate how supportive he's been in his historical knowledge and his sharp takes. Herson Barrero is another one.
Yeah, Herson is a friend, and we come. He was part of the Puerto Rican Institute with Angelo Falcon, who was a very, very good friend. So we have that in common. Last question, Jeff, and I'm going to let you go because as we both know, after a while, people just tune you out when you talk too damn long. But look, best day in this business, your best day that you say, man, you were in the zone.
Oh,
right?
Geez,
you hit the grand slam, right? You hit for the cycle.
Yeah.
And worst day. Start with best day.
The actual best day, that one's tough. But I'll say I'm proud. Very recently, just this Friday at SOMOS, I got a good scoop. I got a good scoop about Hochul restarting congestion pricing. The reporting on Wednesday and Thursday this week was that she's not going to do it. And there were literal headlines like Hochul is not showing any movement about reviving congestion pricing. And I got a tip at SOMOS that no, actually this is happening. She's moving forward. She's reaching out to the DOT. So I got that. Myself and my colleague Rai Rivard, we were the first to report it, and it really got the ball moving on, okay, congestion pricing is happening. And, now it's here. We just had this announcement from the governor that it's back. So, I was proud to, be the first is always good, but then also the fact that it was kind of challenging a narrative that it was already out there. The congestion pricing was dead. That felt even better. So the fact that I got that scoop at SOMOS and that I was reporting that, and then while I was reporting that and making calls, I'm also doing a million other things, seeing a bunch of people, making connections, drinking a pina colada at one point, which may or may not have been a virgin pina colada. It was just a great day. It was a great day to be a reporter. SOMOS is crazy. It's busy. It's so hectic, but I'm proud of the work that I did there and was really happy to be there. So that just this past Friday, there's a good day on the beat.
Talk about the day that you said that maybe I'm not cut out for
the
this.
Worst day,
I
yeah.
need to
oh man,
find another job.
There's days, to be very specific about it. I used to write a lot of magazine profiles at City and State at my previous job, and I wrote a fantastic, in my humble opinion, profile of Ingrid Lewis-Martin, the mayor's chief advisor and just top aide. And I was so stressed writing that story. I was the first one to write a real in-depth look at this person who is at the mayor's right hand. And I talked to tons of sources, and I was just really on edge about getting her correct, getting her right. Because, a lot of people don't get Ingrid. A lot of people do get Ingrid and hate Ingrid. And I wanted to be tough, but fair, but accurate, and get the full picture of who she is. And so, I can think of a specific day where I was at a coffee shop for probably 12 hours, just stressing out, racking my brain, going through all my notes, just feeling like a failure, feeling like I would write the worst story ever, and it was horrible. And I hate those days. I like the reporting. I don't like the writing so much. That was a writing day. It was the worst. You know what? It ended up great. Thanks to my editors, thanks to all these people that talked to me, Ingrid's great quotes. I got that story out, and I think, I hope that I was able to properly capture her. And so that worst day turned into, a good feeling.
Let's wrap this up, Jeff. Anything you want to add? Anything I didn't ask you that you want to mention before we?
I'll say I respect and appreciate a ton of people in politics. That was a hard question to put me on the spot, but I really do. I mean, I would not be able to do this job. I would not be able to communicate and share information and news with people if people didn't talk to reporters and didn't share their insight. And like, I love it. So it's, that is not to say that it's not that I don't respect and don't love any of you. I really do. I really, really appreciate everybody who puts their heart and soul into politics and public service. It's just hard to name specific names.
That's all right, but hopefully this won't be the last time, my friend.
Appreciate you.
But I want to thank you for coming and for supporting me and for, helping me launch this new thing. Let's see where it goes,
Man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Jeff. All the best. Talk soon.